Well, it's just another character. I mean, you know, he happens to be... well, actually, what's your theory, actually, is what I want to know. Because there are so many floating
There's
around.
a guy who's got a problem with every theory that anyone... and hopefully it's not one of the Snoke theories that Ryan came up with. But we don't know what his theory is. I asked him 11 times. We're never going to get to the bottom of anything with him. He's from Australia. But, yeah, he's got a shirt that said, your Snoke theory sucks.
What? I'm not sure if anyone was watching TV last night, but they had this special on ABC television about my T-shirt, and it was on Jimmy Kimmel, the big Last Jedi Star Wars special with the entire cast, pretty much. They had no porgs there. Sorry, Ashley. That's enough of the bizarre conversational heckling sort of action here. Let's just chill out. Save it for the podcast, and by that I mean yours. So they had all the cast on, and we went, my friend Blondie, Jason from Making Star Wars, and Laura Syracuse, that's been on the podcast before, who cosplays as Rose Tico. We were very excited. We got seated in this amazing position, 3 rows back, and we realized that they were going to film a sketch in front of us, and we're like, oh, maybe we'll get on television. That will be really exciting. And you know, let's be clear. I know we're in Hollywood. I've been on TV before, but not American TV. Which I'm not pandering to the audience. That is the gold class of television, all right? You guys nailed it. From Dr. Phil to stuff that's worth watching. It's all pretty good. It's all pretty good. So we're sitting there. We're very excited because they're going to do this sketch, and I've got Laura's dressed as Rose Tico. I've got my Snoke Theory Sucks T-shirt on, and it only hit me this morning. The sketch was about BB-8 was there, and he was giving a shout out to his new girlfriend, who was a Dyson vacuum that was sitting in front of me, and I didn't get the pun that, like, there's a vacuum, and then sitting behind it, there's me with a T-shirt that says your Snoke Theory Sucks. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So I'm working in conjunction with the Kimmel organization there. But then there's like this the warm-up guy, Don Barris, who's like a really quite well-known Hollywood comedian. He's the warm-up guy, and he's sort of talking to us beforehand, and he loves Laura because she's dressed as Rose Tico, but she's cosplaying as like 8 cases of Red Bull. Later on, he came up to us and he goes, hey, could you guys tell that I've barely seen Star Wars? Hell yeah, we could. Kimmel comes out and they do a few sketches and it's really funny. And then during the ad break, he talks to the audience. And he started with Laura because she's percolating. And normally they talk to one person and they go to the other side of the room. So I'm like, oh, I'm not going to get talked to. That's fine. But he realized that he'd hit such a rich vein of geek stupidity. So then he asked me about the Snoke theory, the T-shirt, and what my Snoke theory was and what my favorite Snoke theories were and all that sort of stuff. And I have to say, I've been hit up so many times about people's Snoke theories, and whether it's me hearing it from some kid at Long Beach Comic Con while I'm super hungover, and Jason Ward's on the other side of the room laughing his ass off at how much pain I'm in, or Jimmy Kimmel in between a taping of a nationally televised television show, both suck, all right? It's just... He asked me what I did for a living, and I paused, and I said, I cover Star Wars news. And he's like, that's your job. And I go, dude, you talking to me now is your job. So how's that working out? He said, pretty good. And it got a bigger laugh than my comment. But he's the star, do you know what I mean? And during the actual show, he's like asking all the members of the cast questions, and he goes to Andy Serkis, and they start talking about Snoke theories. And then Jimmy Kimmel goes, there's this dude in the audience that just hates them all. I've asked him 11 times. He won't tell me one theory. And he's got this T-shirt on that says, your Snoke theory sucks. Which you don't understand when I wrote that stupid little sticker in Australia 2 years ago, I did not expect it to be said on nationally broadcast television in the presence of Mark Hamill. Like, they sort of pan to me and I look like a complete lunatic. Like, to my credit, there's a few freeze frames of people have of me like while I'm holding it up, and you can see my eyes looking over to the monitor, making sure I've perfectly shown the logo. That's professionalism, you guys. That's how you shift merch, all right? The bit that you don't see on the show, it's like edited out. Mark Hamill looks over, and for those that maybe don't know, like Luke Skywalker, I love, he's everything to me. He looks at me and goes, "That's the font from the old Canna logo, isn't it?" And then all of a sudden, I looked at his head and he's talking to me, but his head just starts sort of like spinning, and I nodded back, "Yes." And then he told the story about how Nathan Hamill, his first words were Kenner because he saw it on the toy box. And as he told me the story, and I didn't reply anything back, but I did in my head say, "Yes, I know that story because your son told it on my award-winning Star Wars podcast." But I didn't feel like it was right to throw that into the programming. But Don Barris, who knew nothing about like Star Wars and stuff, he came up to us afterwards and he said, "Man, I've been here for every show. I was here when they did the Lost finale. I've been here when U2 played." And he said, "I've never seen an audience," because it was mostly Star Wars fans, that were just so happy and positive and amped up. Like, that was, I don't know what you guys are up to, but it's pretty good stuff. And from a jaded LA comic, I thought that was pretty good. And the thing was that some people don't like those t-shirts, the Your Snoke Theory socks. Sometimes like people think it's like I'm having a go at their theory, like I've read it. But the joke is that even before I've heard your theory, it sucks. Like, that's the joke. The joke's on all of us because we overthink Star Wars so much. I was like, oh my God, these people that don't have the humor to understand the joke in the t-shirt, how is it for them that they're watching TV and this t-shirt that they hate is on there? It doesn't really matter because anyone with that sense of humor would probably be watching Fallon, so...
Celebrate 2 great years of red circles and movie pilot articles with the Your Snoke Theory Sucked t-shirt. Now on sale at steelewars.com.